this should be a fun one. I'm super excited.
I like how she has that pause. This.
Hello, and welcome to Guilty Pleasures, the show where we dive into pleasure, chubbing the waters of a modern horror film to find out just how guilty we need to feel about loving or hating it. Oh, you're fast.
That's not what she said.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't get that a lot.
Okay.
Hello?
Whatever you have to tell yourself. Hi.
Yeah. Well, hi. Hello. Oh, there she is.
Hey, everybody.
Hey. Are we ready to get into this? Do we want to do a
Oh,
little
hell
intro?
yeah.
And all right.
I've been ready.
So for days and years,
Kelly's coming down the walkway with her theme music playing. She's like, I'm ready, bitches. Let's do this.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, happy Hulk days, pleasurinos. I am so excited to be sharing with you a movie that I'm going to say 90% sure about 87% of the audience has never heard of, let alone seen. I wish I could remember how I came across this movie, but I genuinely can't. It probably goes back to my commitment to appreciating Hulk Hogan as an actor and a singer. It's not a good movie, but it's a great movie, if you know what I mean, and I know you do. This is Santa with Muscles. It is also, for those with eagle eyes, the screen debut, I believe, of a young Mila Kunis, who truly, and to her credit, pops. Ed Begley Jr. is also in this movie, and he's great. The Hulkster is doing sort of birdemic levels of acting. I will say that I had at least 3 genuine, and I choose to believe intentional laughs during this movie, but it has everything. Imagine me as Stefan now, if you will. It truly has everything. It's got romance? Question mark? Shrug, eyebrow raise? It's got weird crystals. It's got an orphanage. It's got a lady who shoots electric out of her fingers. It has all the stuff. It has a character that probably should have been played by Joe Pesci or Danny DeVito, but is instead played by some guy I've never seen before. It's amazing. Every time you think you know where this movie is going, it's like, hey, I've got a different idea. Stick with me here. And then it goes someplace much weirder and more bizarre. I picked this as a guilty pleasure because I feel like we have accidentally been watching too many good movies on guilty pleasures. Movies that aren't really that guilty, that are pretty good. Whereas this movie, I had so much fun watching every time I've watched it, but like, it's genuinely bad. Like, there's no way around that. It's genuinely bad, but boy, oh boy, in my mind of what a guilty pleasure should be, of something that you're like, how did this happen? What was going on in the writer's room? Who okayed this? How did the green light happen? This is all of those things. I had so much fun watching it, and it's really fun watching it with other people, which to me is always a good sign of a guilty pleasure movie, because every move made me go, hold on a second. So if you want an absolute different approach to your holiday fare, you can't really do much better than Hulk Hogan with his wispy blonde hair and his confusing mustache in the perennial holiday classic, Santa with Muscles.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Kelly, I have a question.
Stephanie, I have an answer.
Well, I have multiple questions, but I have one to start. I'm concerned now because I've watched this movie more than once, more than twice, which is disturbing. And You said there was a romance, and I really am wondering if I watched the right movie.
When did that happen?
Well, I mean, I would argue that if you want to get really problematic with it, the romance is between Hulk Hogan and a little blonde girl.
No.
If you want to get really problematic with it.
I'm not sure I like that answer.
I don't like it at all.
And you shouldn't. It's horrifying. It's horrifying and it's gross, but it's still kind of weirdly in there. But I do think you're
Hulk Hogan's second worst cringy thing. It's his second worst.
I'm not even sure if it is, which is what's so sad.
No, it is.
I think there might be
because I can tell you what the first is. I can tell you what his first cringy thing is.
What is his first cringy thing?
Sex tape?
Nope. Watch this.
Sex tape,
This is his first cringy thing ever.
Jack has been training for this his whole life.
Yep.
Oh.
Donald Trump's a Hulkamaniac.
Yes, please. I'm not drunk enough for this. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I did want to caveat that.
I unearthed that little gem and I was like, oh, I got to use that.
I'm glad you brought that up, Jack, actually, because I did want to caveat that like, I am always laughing at Hulk Hogan and never with him. Like, I know he's like a totally garbage, like
fair enough
piece of shit Republican, like trash can. And I am never laughing with him. I'm always laughing at him. Like, there's no part of me that supports like anything about him, but like, I am going to enjoy like the dumb bullshit in a like kind of Nelson Munsey way, if that makes any sense.
I'm Hulk Hogan, the greatest wrestler of all time.
Well, and
I like how Kelly asks, like, unironically, what was happening in the writer's room. And it's like, this is the mid-90s, Kells. I have one word what was happening in the writer's room, and it's cocaine.
Coke.
That cocaine was happening in the writer's room.
Yes,
cocaine.
100% cocaine. Yeah. Well, which like I don't want to get like ahead of us because there's so much to talk about with this movie, which is part of the reason I picked it. But like with the cocaine in mind, it made me laugh so hard that the punks in the beginning of the movie, like when they're in the mall, one of them is wearing a Dare shirt.
Oh my God.
Which is, you know, like some younger people may not know this, but like Dare was the whole like resist drugs and alcohol thing. So like, what kind of like fucking juvenile delinquent is going to wear like a Nancy Reagan don't do pot shirt?
Maybe it was ironic.
Tucked into his jeans. It was Jess. I'm sorry, I called you Jess. I don't know where that came from. Steph, it was tucked into his jeans. Like, it can't be ironic if it's tucked in.
Oh, is that the rule? Shit, I did not know that.
Yep. Yep, tucked in means sincerity.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, I am learning shit. I did not expect to be educated on this podcast, and yet it's happening, and that's exciting.
I think that if there's any like disclaimer we should make to our audience, it is this. Santa with Muscles is a movie that might truly break your brain for like 3 days afterwards. So if we're all a little like loopy and weird, it's because we watched Santa with Muscles. So with that in mind, though, let's do a nice segue. Steph, Jack, have either of you heard of this movie before I presented it to you?
No.
Absolutely not.
And how excited were you when I said about it? Like,
well,
on a scale from 10 to 11.
If we go from my previous experience with Hulk Hogan movies, can we go in the negatives? Do we have negative numbers?
Absolutely, you cannot.
Nope. Yeah, your choices are
10 or 11 are my options. It's going to be like scraping the bottom of that tin barrel right there.
We'll take it.
I was excited when you presented a drinking game and a special cocktail, a themed cocktail, and explained that there would be lots of drinking. I was like, all right, I think I can get on board with this. Like a sober, sincere watch? No. Oh my God,
no,
yes.
No. That's not even on the table. Not even on the table.
No tucked in shirt for me. I'm
No.
not that sincere about this movie. No, yeah, it's bonkers. I mean, the okay, that's a good segue because, I watched the trailer And then even the trailer is like the nuttiest thing I've ever seen. Like it is
off
so
the chain.
bananas. And what I want to talk about is on the trailer, they make it seem like Hulk Hogan is like a criminal and he's committed like some big crime and he's running from the cops and he's hiding out, and then he gets amnesia and he becomes Santa, and then he has like a reformation to become a good guy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was expecting going in. What I was not expecting was that the triggering incident that causes him to be chased down by the bumbling cops is
Clint Howard, mind you.
Yes, chaotic paintball. Like I was like,
Paintballing.
all right, what in the hell is happening
And
right now?
mildly
It's
speedy
so
driving.
bizarre.
Mildly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
and
going
then,
45 and a
so-
35 or something.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I started watching this movie with my partner Jonathan and my mom, and my mother has very little patience for this movie, despite being a Christmas fanatic. Although she did watch it from the beginning to the end with me last night. I kind of think maybe enjoyed it more the second time around against every reasonable odd. But when it kind of kicked off, Jonathan was like, oh, is this the concept of like Violent Night, that David Harbour movie of like, you know, somebody who's like a vengeful Santa who like punishes the wicked kind of thing? And I was like, you wish. that is not what you're in for here, my friend. Ain't happening. And I just watched like the life drain from my partner's face, and I was like, I can't do this to you. I just can't. Like, I can take weird ironic pleasure in this, but I can't subject you to this because I can see how much you're hating every possible second of like the kitchen staff attacking him so that he can practice his
yes.
Hulk rules or whatever the fuck he calls them, Blake rules or something like that. He's
it's
always
like
Hulk Hogan. Like,
well, and that's a weird thing too, is because he's not playing somebody who is like an action hero or a wrestler. He's playing like a billionaire entrepreneur type of guy, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But for some
I mean,
reason
he's kind of playing
his,
Donald Trump, weirdly enough.
Right. Well, and it's like for some reason he has his staff randomly attack him so he can practice his like fighting skills. For to what end, I have no idea. Like I don't know when he's practically using these skills. And then he makes them go on a paintball adventure with him, and the cops chase him because they're like, I guess, driving like a little bit too fast, but they act like it's like a massive manhunt. And he's a billionaire who's got his face on products. And instead of just pulling over and being like, playing the billionaire card, he's like, oh no, I'm going to like just, you know, start outrunning them for no fucking reason at all. I haven't even done anything. I just think it'll be funny and fun.
And then they label him like the terrorist because he's in a Hummer, and all of a sudden it's like, it's a bunch of terrorists. That's like the first thing, that's the first place the cops go. It's got to be terrorists.
Well, that's the other interesting thing. Like, there's no like, usually there would be sort of a sense of like, oh, okay, this is somebody who feels like their status and their money puts them above everybody else. And like the lesson would be, you know, that's not the case. But at the end of the movie, instead it is his continued reckless belief that being a rich white guy makes him above the law that ultimately allows him to save the day, which is fucking wild. Like, that's the kind of opposite of the Scrooge lesson of like, your money doesn't make you better than everybody else. Instead, it's like, hey, your money does make you better than everybody else, and you can use that to save the orphans, which is, again, stone cold bonkers. And as a person who's no great fan of the police, like, I kind of enjoyed how cartoonishly inept they were. But at the same time, I was like, why is Clint Howard so invested in this? Like, other than he's Clint Howard and he'll never.
He's Clint Howard. He just goes all in on everything.
Whatever like scraps he gets at the table, you know. But like, there were so many moments where like when Hulk Hogan. For those who haven't seen this movie, all like 7 people who maybe haven't seen this unbelievably beloved holiday classic, the inciting incident, as Steph alluded to, is a on the road paintball fight that ends in a mall where Hulk Hogan switches into a Santa costume, but doesn't take the time to make sure that his camo is tucked in correctly. So Clint Howard can continue following him, but then he hangs from a garbage chute where eventually a janitor throws a giant plastic Santa down that knocks Hulk Hogan free and causes him to bonk his head, leading to amnesia, that old chestnut. And the very dubious nature of like what Hulk Hogan then believes Santa is, which we'll get into more later. But at one point he is hanging from a trash chute with his hands very visibly over the edge, and Clint Howard just needs to pivot his head 2 inches to the right and see those hands, but he doesn't do it. And my mom just kept yelling, "Oh, come on!" I was like, "Yeah, all right, fair point." But
also, he's knocked on the head with what amounts to like 2 pounds of plastic. Like this plastic Santa can't weigh more than a fucking thimble.
Right.
And it's the thing that knocks him violently down this fucking garbage chute.
Right. And Hulk Hogan's entire life has just been blunt force head trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's
Yeah.
he started getting blunt force head trauma when
Absolutely.
he was like 2 years old.
Yeah, like he starts the movie like just in a full-on brawl. And we're led to believe that this is a normal occurrence, that he's constantly doing this shit.
I think, and I'm going to give this movie a lot more credit than it probably deserves, but I think the vibe they were going for, because that whole opening scene
That's my job.
with the you know, like the evil mastermind's lair, right? Because initially, like right up front, you think, oh, he's the action hero sneaking into the master, which happened in all of those movies back in the 80s and 90s. And then it takes that pivot to where they're attacking him with a meat tenderizer and a hedge trimmer and shit. But I think the vibe they were going for, or where they were cribbing from, was the old Pink Panther movies. Because in the old Pink Panther movies, Inspector Clouseau's manservant, Kato, is always trying to attack him as he comes home to ostensibly keep him on his toes. And either this movie was doing some deep cuts in that vein, or was just fucking really accidental. But that's the vibe I got.
But Hulk Hogan has no reason to need to be on his toes. That's the thing. It's like that's not any part of his job description.
Right.
It's so bananas. True. Why didn't they make him like a like something that it would have made sense?
But Steph, this is a movie in which this is a movie in which people like villains carjack a Christmas tree. Like they don't. This Christmas tree looks like the reject, like the last fucking tree in the lot. I mean, because it is an orphanage, I guess they get the handouts. But they chain up a Christmas tree and steal it. Like it would have been so much easier to just fucking toss the tree into the van, but they tie it up with a chain and haul it. So that's the vibe of the movie we're watching. Everybody just roll with it.
Everybody.
But also, like, let's put a
just a little note.
Just a little note.
Let's put
in case you were wondering.
Let's put a figurative bookmark into the villains category, because that's
the villains. Oh boy.
That's its own podcast.
Yeah, we gotta have a whole conversation about the villains. Before we get too deep into it, I want to ask you guys both, like, what's your history with Christmas movies? Like, what are the ones you like? What are the ones you don't like? Do you dig the Hallmark scene? Like, my mom and I tend to be people who like we'll put shit on in the background that we're not really paying that much attention to, but like you look up and it's like, oh, it's snowing, yay, like, you know, whatever. Like we have the ones we love. We have Your Muppet Christmas Carols, It's a Wonderful Life, more that we'll get into in no notes that we really, really, really love. But like we tend to feel like they're just like kind of like good things to put on ambiantly in the background that we don't necessarily like, but we're like, this is fine. Like, what's your history with Christmas movies, and what do you like? What do you consider like your classics? Do you have standards for your family that you watch every year? Like, I'm not saying How Does Santa with Muscles stack up, because I obviously understand that it is now your new favorite.
Very top of the list now.
I mean, clearly, number one.
You'll obviously be watching it every year and telling everybody you know about it. But like, we'll table that for another moment. Like, what are the ones that are important to you, and are there any that you hate, et cetera, et cetera? Steph, you go first.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, here's the thing, and I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but so I'm one of those, like, I'm a horror girl who obviously is obsessed with Halloween, and every year as Halloween is starting to like roll away and Christmas is, you know, making its intrusive entrance, you know, I get that like grumpy, grinchy, like, oh God, you know, it's too soon. Why are we doing this? I want Halloween all year round. But in spite of that, in spite of me saying that, like I have this hard exterior, but I have this like soft, squishy interior. And as soon as like I really let myself get into it, like right around Thanksgiving, I'm just all in. And I love the shit out of these like sappy, sentimental, schmaltzy, sugary sweet movies. I will just watch them unironically and enjoy them and, pretend to be a badass, but really be not a badass at all. I love so many of them. I love the comedies, like obviously like Elf and Christmas Vacation. And I love the sappy stuff. It's a Wonderful Life, like all the like perennial classics. Holiday specials I love. I know that we're going to talk about several and no notes. I love the shit out of holiday specials of like my favorite shows. Honestly, I just like am a fucking sap and a sucker for this shit. I really love it. And I'll sit down and like watch it and make a cup of hot cocoa and sit in front of a tree and, have a little blankie and be all like warm and cozy. So yeah, this stuff is my jam. The Hallmark stupid stuff, like I make fun of it and I am like, this is going to be stupid and ridiculous. And then I will like be endeared in spite of myself. And I'll even get like misty eyed at the dumbass, like Hallmark formulaic romance bullshit. I really got a problem. It's serious and I need help. So that's my story.
Acceptance is the first step towards getting towards being better, Steph.
Well, no, I've accepted it for a long time and have gotten no help. So I'm just living with the truth of the horror. What about you, Jack? Are you as sad as I am?
Well, no.
Nobody is, Stephanie. Nobody.
Sad in a different way. No, So I don't know. Maybe it's the old man in me, but I tend to get a little grumpy around the time that Mariah Carey is being thought out. But I can honestly admit that as much as I don't necessarily jive with all the commercial sides of Christmas, it's also very special to me because like growing up, we had a small family, like a really small family. So Christmas with our family, it was like max 8 people, usually smaller. And like outside of that, my mom and I are very much introverts. And so when the family festivities were over and we would go back home, we didn't have a lot of money. So we had our old beat up VHS and some old VHS cassettes. And it was like Scrooged and A Christmas Story and A Christmas Vacation. Those movies are what we watched when we were done, celebrating with the family and we were just going to be home alone doing our thing. And so I am a sucker for those old Christmas movies like that. I grew up with those. It was the perennial watch. We had our few that we kind of wore out the VHS tapes on. But I'm also one of those assholes that thinks that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So I will die hard on that hill all day long. That's also one of my favorite Christmas movies. It's a Wonderful Life. Obviously, Elf is fucking fantastic. Christmas Vacation is probably, I won't lie. Santa with Muscles gave it a good run for its money, but I think Christmas Vacation is still the crowned king of.
Yeah, it barely eats it out.
It was close. It was a close call there, But yeah, for as grumpy as I can be and as kind of get off my lawn as I can be about certain things when it comes to Christmas movies, I love them. I can't just have them as ambiance. I don't do movies as ambiance. Like if a movie is on, I'm watching it.
Same.
Otherwise, it's just not on. Like I can't do the half and half stuff. But so it's to the season. So we're queuing up all the Christmas movies, and Scrooged is always on there. Die Hard.
Jack, I have a question.
Alone. Yeah.
Are you riding your Peloton bike while you're watching the Christmas movies, or do you actually lock in?
So I'm gonna give this movie the benefit of the doubt. I'm usually riding on this particular movie because Kelly was all in. And because I was drinking rather heavily, I did not exercise during this movie. I actually legitimately sat down, bundled up, and I watched it start to finish.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It is a Christmas miracle.
Wow,
that might also
Kelly,
be because I was having trouble standing up, but I did watch it all the way through in one sitting.
What did you say? Lenny's in the forest or something?
I don't remember what the fuck I typed.
I don't even know what you were trying to say, but
and autocorrect did not come and save me. I was like, what the fuck is that?
I really want to know what you were trying to say because it was like, I'm like, how does it even?
Oh my God.
Leslie, this is forest. I screenshotted it.
Well, thank you for saving that for posterity.
And you're like, good
no.
Lord, clearly this is autocorrect. Because there's no Leslie and there is no Forrest. I don't know why that's funny, but it's hilarious.
I don't know what I was trying to say. I barely remember that.
Oh my God. Okay,
God.
sorry. Kelly, are you still there?
She left us. She's like,
Is she riding her Peloton back?
Wait. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You were muted.
Oh, I did, and I didn't know I had myself muted, which is actually great because I was interjecting at random points and like it wasn't necessary. Like I asked Jack what he thought about Gremlins as a Christmas movie.
And we were just ignoring you, and you're
totally
like, all right.
too.
I know. I was just like, okay, everybody's acknowledging that what I'm saying is nonsense, and that's okay.
Like, no, Kelly, no, we're not having any of this.
We actually had that conversation at work
said,
today. Yes. Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
Because when you said about Die Hard, I was like, well, what do you think about Gremlins? Which I think is my favorite Christmas movie, personally.
It's
Gremlins
a good
is the best.
It's
but
good,
not,
and it counts.
It's my favorite. It's perfect. Joe Dante knows how to direct a fucking movie. Also, like, how cute are the Gremlins? But anyway, not the point. I was already aware of how deeply, deeply strange and tonally all over the place this movie was. Like,
I mean,
there's nothing that can prepare you for the weirdness of Santa with muscles. Like, I asked my mom a couple of times, like, who do you think the audience was for this movie? And she just kept kind of like shaking her head and shrugging and like looking like I had broken her spirit by putting it on. I was like, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, this movie goes straight for the jugular. This movie has absolutely no fucking chill at front, because right up front is like the voiceover with the little girl who's like, the orphanage is in trouble and I don't know how we're going to do this and Christmas is ruined. And then somebody carjacks their fucking Christmas tree, like all within like the space of 45 seconds. Like, so.
Right. And then you meet your hero who is like this piece of fucking shit. Like the hero is a fucking garbage can, like terrible in every conceivable way. And like, then the person who leads to like the hero's redemption is also a piece of shit. It's this like total garbage can guy who's dressed as an elf, who for some reason the woman is like, I'll give $50 to any elf who finds me a Santa, which is insane in and of itself. Like, table that for a second. But one of my genuine laughs, like a true laugh, small one, but a legitimate one, came when he first has his amnesia and he's Santa-ing, and he asks the little girl sitting on his lap what she wants for Christmas, and she's going, it's like, and she's holding up kind of like a spherical shape with her hand, and he says, oh, a golf ball. And he's like so earnest about it and so sincere, and for some reason that legitimately made me laugh, because the idea that anybody at any point would think, yeah, this like 5-year-old girl wants a golf ball,
and just one. You know, just
very funny to me. Yeah. That legitimately got me. I genuinely laughed at that.
Y'all, I have to say something about that opening letter written by the sugar sweet girl.
Yeah.
So
the like over the top urchin. Yeah.
Little Miss Saccharin. Yeah, bring it on.
So shout out. So this is not me. I'm going to read you something because it made me laugh out loud. So this is from somebody named Nathan Rabin, who is talking about this movie.
Oh,
and he's talking
Nathan Rabin.
Oh, you
not personally.
You know him,
I mean,
or
I've read
him?
His.
Oh, Nathan.
I have read his column many times. My Year of Flops column and his work with the AV Club. He's very funny.
All right. Well, yes, because he's talking about the insanity of this little girl, what she's writing to Santa about and asking for his help with this, evil villain situation. And he says, and I'm just going to read it because it's fucking great. He says, that would be like if a movie where Donald Trump was the villain began with a little girl writing a letter to Santa reading, Dear Santa, I want an Xbox and a Paw Patrol lunchbox, and for my brother to come back from the dead. And also, I'm concerned that a lot of President Trump's executive orders are going to really negatively affect a lot of my immigrant friends. So if you could do something about that, I'd appreciate it too. I know that's not usually your bag, but if this year you could add defeating my town and the country's primary bad guy to your usual rounds, that'd be great. And I was like, fucking like on the floor laughing at that, and I just had to read it because it does start off so unbelievably bananas and gets worse from there, but I think it's
crazy how much Donald Trump's come up in this podcast in like the span of 10 minutes.
I know, like way more than
horrifying.
I would care for.
Way
So
more
much
than I would care for.
We've exceeded the limit. The limit was 0.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Oh,
like
my God.
0% is how much I would have liked, but that's where we're at.
Merry Christmas.
Woohoo!
Takes a bow, exit stage left. All right.
Oh,
All right, so I'm gonna work through my notes if that's okay with everybody, and we can everybody can jump in.
This is no notes, Kelly. How do you have
no,
notes?
this is not no
this
notes.
is
This is
guilty
guilty
pleasures.
pleasures. Can you
Thank
imagine
God
if this was
I'm-
no notes?
Oh my God, no!
If she's like, this
You're
is
right.
a perfect fucking film, guys, and we're gonna talk about why.
That would be
Guys,
a different
I've said
podcast,
some
indeed.
outrageous shit in my life, but that would be next level. Okay, so one of the things I noted was this mall has really rallied around Santa. That after he kind of beats up those 2 teenagers, they're all really excited. And then when he walks out, everybody's following him. And there's
Following
a woman
him?
in a blue blouse who is losing her mind. She's just like doing air punches to the right of him. And it is fantastic.
And honestly,
And she tries to
Santa's
like sneak up on him, and then like has to like cancel it because he moved. Yes, yeah.
Okay, you noticed.
Like
her
she's
too,
gonna grind up on him, and he
obviously.
like steps away or something.
well, and he's been like,
and she's
there's
just, like,
all
making
this
most
like
of her time.
there's all
Mhm.
this like massive violence in front of all these little children, and they're like, woohoo!
But everybody
And
loves
it's
it.
crazy. I
They
know.
love
Yes.
it.
Yes.
They're like, more bloodshed,
I-
please. Yay.
And I want to caveat on what Kelly said, because in like what oddball universe does the hot blonde mall manager chick offer up $50 for one of those elves to go track down a mall Santa, and not a single one of them immediately
Right?
gets up to help? Like, not only is it $50,
Right, like why wouldn't they just be like, I'll
But,
put the
like-
beard on, I'll do it. Like,
right? Like, oh my God, hand it
Yeah.
over. Like, yeah, I was like, what fucking universe does this happen in?
Yeah. I thought that the guy who played Clayton was legitimately pretty good. Genuinely, like I thought he was pretty funny. Like most of
Which
what he
one's
said
Clayton?
I thought worked.
See the deadbeat
He was
Joe
the
Pesci guy?
groundskeeper at the orphanage.
Oh, that
no,
guy.
No.
Yeah.
I had no particular love for our weird elf who is somehow able to take the Hulk's milk glass to use his thumbprint to access the
I've
ATM
got-
machine.
I've got a
Oh,
note.
I'm so
I've got
sorry.
a
I
comment
said
on
ATM
that.
machine. That's like the worst thing in the world. ATM.
I bet you do.
Which is like bonkers on a bunch of so many levels. So many fucking levels. of
Jack, are you
crazy
doing
there.
are you doing your like here are some factual inaccuracies?
No.
Because there's quite a
I don't think we
few.
have that much time. I
No,
don't
but
think
I
we
mean,
have that kind of time.
do have a solid note on Clayton at
6-hour
the end of the
podcast.
movie, though, right? I have a
right,
solid
yeah.
note
The
on Clayton.
groundskeeper?
Yeah, and it's a good thing.
I
It's
enjoyed
not
him
against
as an
him by any
actor.
means. No, he's
Okay.
great. It's not
I'm
against him.
not-
It's
I'm
just
not saying
against a movie choice.
Right. I'm not saying the character is good, but I thought that the actor who played him like did a pretty good job with what he was doing. In the same way
Absolutely.
that I
Yeah,
thought
no,
like
it's-
a young Mila Kunis like truly popped. Like you can see why she got famous after all of this because like she has
Totally.
presence. Like
I thought the
Yep.
kids were pretty great. Like they were kind of the best part of the film, which is insane.
kids were
'cause that
fantastic,
almost never
which-
happens.
Never happens. Yep.
I mostly agree with you. I thought the little blonde urchin like it was a little too much for me. Like a
No,
little
I
too
loved her.
saccharine.
Oh God, I ate her up. I was
She's
like,
so
yum, yum, yum.
cute. I thought.
And
like,
when I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No,
but
go ahead, please.
when they start
Please.
doing the angel baby duet, I was like, first of all,
Oh
what
my
the
God.
fuck is happening? But second of all, why do I fucking
Right.
love this? Like, what is happening right now?
And now it's a musical. And now it's a
Okay,
musical.
well-
Yep.
Angel baby, my button. Oh,
First of all, I return to saying that this is weirdly a romance between Hulk Hogan and a child.
That's so icky. I wish you wouldn't say
Because,
that.
like, ew.
Yeah, I don't like it when you say
know,
that
but,
out
like,
loud.
I'm just saying, with that scene
Stop
in
saying it
mind,
out
it's
loud.
hard not to think of it as like weirdly a romance between Hulk Hogan and child. Also, like at one point, she gives him like a kiss on the cheek, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!"
No,
Like, it's
Kelly,
yeah,
How much?
It's
Damn it,
horrifying.
Kelly. I was
Kelly,
trying to like keep.
Like how you watched this movie. I think you watched this
No.
wrongly, incorrectly.
I have to like redo some of my notes that I put at
I
the end of
didn't
this
wanna
because
see it
I had
that
notes for
way.
Kelly that now I have to undo.
Because I didn't see that
I'm just
at
gonna
all.
say, I did not
Same.
want to see it that way, but every time I looked over at my mom when these things were happening, she was also kind of like grimacing and being like, ugh.
Well, maybe she was grimacing
Yeah,
because
this is
everything
kinda
was
weird.
insane, but was it like,
Yes, because again, cocaine.
You know what I used to eat for breakfast? Cocaine.
yeah,
Yeah.
cocaine, but I don't know about
So
like
much cocaine.
ugh,
Okay, but we
yeah.
both loudly and emphatically agreed that like the lady in charge of the orphanage shouldn't be in charge of an orphanage because like two
Oh,
strange men
100p.
come to the door and they're like, "Hey, why don't you spend the night here with these children? Like, we don't know anything about you, and you are just presenting yourself as men who are Santa and an elf. You're not saying this is who I am outside of this. You're just saying I am Santa and an elf. As far as we know of, you should have a home around here because we're assuming you're a person in a costume, but we're still going to just say, sure, sleep in a room in our orphanage with the children."
Why?
These
Why do
people
they
don't-
Again, I
This
didn't look at it
orphanage
that
should
way,
be
but
shut
now I
down.
feel like I should have.
Kelly really brought out like the
This
creep
orphanage-
factor.
Yeah.
Well, but like this orphanage should be shut down. They're doing a bad job of protecting these children. Like,
Well, they only have 3 kids in this
That's not
orphanage, which is
appropriate.
insane.
Right. Yeah, they might have lost a few along the way to some other
Agreed.
predators.
Also, can I ask a
right?
question?
Who
Why
knows what happened to them?
why do they have a adult sheep onesie that fits a grown man just laying around?
Just hanging around.
And they're
Yeah.
like, this is what you're going to wear for pajamas. I was just curious.
I think this is now a different
Top-notch
movie
questions.
entirely. Yeah.
And you know what? Like, there's this another one of my genuine laughs that I feel like is kind of acknowledging what you're saying, Steph, was when he said, "Am I a sheep? Am I a bunny? Which one of these two things?" Which was like a genuine laugh for me, but it also felt like it was a kind of meta commentary on the movie. Like, why is this here?
why is it
why
here?
should this be
Because
happening?
it's not like they're putting on plays or shit. Like it's an orphanage, and they have children.
Mhm.
Why do they have a grown man onesie, sheep onesie?
Why do they have any adult clothing at all? Like, it
Well,
doesn't make any
yeah.
sense.
but why is this here is like the movie's tagline. It was like the subtext. Like, why does the villain's lair have the big, smoke shooting machines that are clearly from wrestling events outside of his home that just go off every now and again for no fucking reason?
Wait, Jack, that I can answer.
Oh,
Because it's a villain's
can
lair.
you? Because it's a villain's
Yeah,
lair,
it's
which
because
is
it's
why
a
it
villain's
has.
lair. Right.
Okay, which is why it has like
an interesting
saran-
thing about
or,
this movie that I an interesting thing about this movie that I specifically said to my mom is that it's a weird situation where a movie specifically poses science as the enemy.
Yes.
Because this movie very much is like, science is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Science is the enemy.
Well, for sure, because
But-
if
I
you
didn't-
like know
Yeah.
any science, then literally nothing makes any sense. So they're like, we're gonna
Right.
have to throw science out the window for this movie.
Exactly.
But also, like, the people they have, like the electric lady and the chemical guy and the geologist who appears to simply brush people into torture. Like, they're all science fields and they're all villains. And there's evil David Tennant who, I can't remember what his character's name, but he just looked like evil David Tennant. Like, he was clearly supposed to be a scientist, which we knew because he wore a stethoscope
Right.
for some reason.
But he also carried like a drafting tool or something. So it's like they weren't even getting the fields right. They were like cross-pollinating
Right.
on the different professions.
Uh-huh. Yep. Like
Right.
you do.
I think they
like
just
you do.
rated the prop room and like, fuck it, grab that. Yep, that looks sharp. Grab that too.
I think it's really, really generous of you to assume there was a prop room. and not just like we went to the thrift store and bought a bunch of dumb shit and we're going to make it work somehow.
But there's one thing we can agree on, right? I mean, there's one huge thing we can all agree on, I hope, is that Hulk Hogan looks kind of weird
Begley
without
Jr.
his
is
like
the best.
traditional handlebar mustache, right? Like, doesn't he look a little weird?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
Okay, thank God.
No,
Okay.
he does not look weird, Jack. He looks creepy. He looks legitimately creepy.
There's something wrong, like that look, which I get was kind of the thing back in 90s, like Los Angeles or wherever the fuck this is happening. I got it. Check. I grew up there. I know that, but it's just like Hulk Hogan does not look like Hulk Hogan, like at all. And that
It's probably why
to me
Kevin's
seems like
convinced he's a pedo.
missed opportunity. Right. Yeah. He does look like a pedo though, to be fair.
She saw that mustache. She's like, pedophile.
Nope. To be clear, I'm convinced of it because of the text. It is because of the text of the movie. The most we see him bond with anybody is with the tiny blonde girl, and he's real weird about it. Like, super weird about it. Like, in a way that, like, I didn't notice the first time around, but watching it the second time made me kind of uncomfortable.
God damn it.
Boy.
Now my ode just doesn't have the same pop to it now that this movie's in a different light.
Yeah, we got to go back and rewrite some shit. I had no idea what movie I was watching.
Yeah.
Did not realize.
Look, I'm not saying Ed Begley Jr. was in the right, even though usually my stance is that Ed Begley Jr. is in the right. But I can't stress this enough. These people deserved to lose their orphanage because they were letting weirdo random men just fucking move in. No questions about, like, who are you? May I see some identification? You're telling me you are Santa Claus. I would like a little bit more information. They were just like, yeah, you should move in here. Which
and
is
also, though,
bonkers.
I have a question because Hulk Hogan, I think I was led to believe that when he got bonked on the head, he was convinced he was Santa. He's Santa.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he knows he's got a fake beard and wig. Like he knows he's wearing a costume. So if you think you're Santa, what do you make of having a fake beard and wig? And does that not trigger anything?
The internal logic there is wildly, wildly inconsistent because, like, there's absolutely no reason in the world that because he has amnesia, he should suddenly think Santa is real. That makes 0% sense. But also, like you said, like he says things like to the little girl when she asks why he doesn't have his beard, he says something like, "Oh, Mrs. Claus says it itches," or something like that, which he's clearly like making up a lie on the spot. So like the suggestion that he thinks he's the air quotes here, and if you are for some reason somebody under the age of 11 who's listening to this, stop listening. The real Santa.
That's terrifying that a child would be listening to this podcast.
I mean, I'm not holding my breath on it, but just in case, I don't want to be the one who ruins somebody. Is like, you know, like it's a crazy suggestion that he thinks he is the real Santa with everything else that he does. Like, I bought the idea that he maybe thought he was like a mall Santa or somebody acting as a Santa, you know, but like, to suggest that he thinks he's the real Santa and to have him have that moment then with not quite Joe Pesci where he's like, but how do I get around the world in one night? Like, no, he can't be that dumb. Like, he can't be. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And the internal logic of the movie is bananas in keeping with like how crazy everything about this movie is. And somehow, guys, we are talking about all this and haven't even gotten to the fact that there are crystals beneath the orphanage.
Oh my God.
And Ed Begley Jr. like was apparently Hulk Hogan's childhood friend and has now a woman with electric fingers as a friend or punisher, enforcer. And like there's so much that we've kind of like not even touched upon that is so next level insane that like everything we've kind of addressed so far sounds
it pales in comparison.
Standard. Yeah, exactly.
And I love how you used like the words internal logic when trying to there is no, you said like this movie isn't, there is no internal, this movie doesn't have a fucking whiff of internal logic at all, which probably works in its favor.
Yeah. And it's funny you should say whiff, because as you've pointed out a number of times, the internal logic was probably...
Yep. Yeah. Which is the
I don't know
only
if that
thing...
picked up on audio, but...
It picked up. But it's the only thing that
it
explains
picked up.
arguably the single longest take in this movie, which is of him drinking milk slowly.
Oh my God. That scene.
The single longest take in this movie is him drinking milk in slow motion in some really uncomfortable, like extended money shot. It is awful.
Yeah.
It made
It
me
is
feel
fucking
slightly
horrifying. I hate milk
made
on
me
the
feel
best of
slightly
days, and now I
nauseous.
hate it even more because of that.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
And then it segues to the truly bananas moment where a news reporter shows up at the orphanage and says, "We heard that the Santa with muscles is staying here." Like, from who? Who did they hear this
God.
from? How did they hear that? And from who? And it's it's amazing.
Merry Christmas, Santa!
I will say that,
Oh.
again, there were actually a few genuine intentional moments that made me laugh a little bit. Like when he's giving the interview and she asks him how he stays in such good shape, and Lenny's off camera trying to do like motions, and he says it's from eating reindeer meat. Like, genuinely, like I had a genuine laugh there.
Oh my God.
And it was an intentional laugh. Like, they set that up to be funny, and it did work for me. Like, that legitimately made me laugh. Like, any time that it was just Hulk being bad at being a human, it kind of worked for me, because I was like, yeah, all right, Hulk Hogan's bad at humaning.
Oh
He's bad
my
at
God.
peopling, and that works.
But come on, Kelly.
Hulk Hogan
Mhm.
is arguably the greatest wrestler of all time.
That's all you need to know. That is all you
Okay.
need to know.
That's definitely
Except for
arguable.
Ed Begley Jr.
I don't think
Ed
Ed Begley Jr.
Begley
is
Jr.
arguably the best wrestler of all time. I'd like to see him try, though.
I actually genuinely like Ed Begley Jr. That's
Oh, me too.
where-
Me too.
That's where it gets complicated. I think
And
he's
Clint
actually
Howard,
a really
for sure.
charming. Oh, I do like Clint Howard, but I also feel like he's so Clint Howard that
Oh,
what can you
yeah.
say?
Yeah.
Whereas Ed Begley Jr. I think is somebody who has genuine charm and a
Yes.
sub Ted Danson, but certainly above Clint Howard way. He's not
Oh,
quite
sure.
dead.
Yikes.
He's not quite
That was a hell of an
Ted
indictment right
Danson
there.
charming. I know.
It's a lot right now.
He is not as charming as your Ted Danson's, but he is a pretty charming guy who's funny and likable and good at what he does, I think. He was just given a really weird role to
Very
do
weird
in this movie. So weird. And as a person who sometimes feels like Christmas movies can get kind of this is where I get into the weirdly sincere defense of this movie. As somebody who feels like Christmas movies can get very rote and stereotypical and tired, kind of boring. When they revealed that there were crystals under the orphanage, I lost my mind. I had to get up and walk in a couple of circles because I was just what the fuck is happening? This
I
is
can't believe that's where you
bananas.
lost your mind.
Right?
Oh, I
And that
lost my
happened
mind so many times.
Long before that. Yeah.
By that point, I was
No,
just
I-
I guess. I mean, of course there's crystals.
Fuck
I
it.
mean,
Go all in.
why
Yep.
wouldn't there be?
Why not? Because
I mean-
why not?
I also appreciated in air quotes again, the idea that most Christmas movies try to teach you some sort of a wholesome message, something you can take away from it. The fundamental message of Santa with Muscles is that it's really funny to see your enemies suffer,
Yeah.
which is crazy. At the end when they're all
kinda
weirdly
like that.
living in the Hulk's house, which is again a crazy idea that the Hulk could just be you know what, bring me your orphans. I have space. bring me your orphans. Like, that's stone cold bananas. But like, okay, we're gonna allow that. That they have set up telescope so that they can look into the jail yard so that they can all just laugh at their enemies having to do hard labor is so crazy, especially since Hulk Hogan has not actually learned a lesson at all. He's learned that it's fucking great being rich. Being rich is great. Fucking with Clint Howard, great. I don't know, like lifting guys up by their ankles and shaking them around.
I've got one.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got one to add to that, Kelly. I've got one to add because it circles back to the whole he's being terrible at peopling, at humaning.
Take it away,
when
Jack.
they find the magical crystal layer, right? When they find the underneath the orphanage, they've got the purple splody amethysts. When they get the door open, he figures out the code. His words are, "It's okay, I'll lead." And then he lets the fucking kids go first. Like, he says he's going to lead, and then they go in, and he just follows. Like, okay, little fucking human shield, knock yourself out. Like, he says it. He literally says it, and then lets them go in front of him.
Right, he puts them in danger. He's Santa with muscles.
Every time.
He's a badass, and he's
time.
like, you go first. You knock the guy out with the fire extinguisher or whatever. Like, this little
Those kids are always in front every time that he's in with them. Yeah.
I mean, there's also the, like, somewhat problematic nature of, like, we're going to trap a man in a hazmat suit with his own noxious gases. And, like, instead of, like, figuring, okay, we're just, like, unarming him or whatever, like, we're just gonna laugh at him while he's suffering.
Especially as he falls out the window.
Right. It's a crazy, crazy message to have in a Christmas movie. Like, even in, like, Home Alone, which, like, I've got issues with. I think a lot of people, once they reach a certain age, they have some issues with Home Alone. Like, there is still the idea that, like, he is strictly doing this as a self-defense mechanism.
Self-defense, right.
Yes, yeah. And, like, it's over the top, and it's not necessarily a good thing to show kids. Like, they should not be thinking that you can hit a person in the head with a paint can and they'll survive or whatever. But with Santa with Muscles, it's much more of almost a sort of sadistic pleasure in watching the villains go through these, like, various and sundry torturous things, like getting trapped with their own stink bombs or whatever is on the Hulk's list. But, like, the fact that they actively show them, not just, like, being like, okay, here's our chance to get away or whatever, but, like, laughing at them, like, literally pointing and laughing at them is so fucking crazy in a Christmas movie.
Never stop to smell the roses.
This movie has some like strange violent undertones that are weird. Like, why the fuck does a sheriff's officer have a fucking bazooka in the trunk of their patrol car?
Yes!
Like, not even like he just like yanks it out like it's just like tossed back there with his fucking gym bag and stuff. He's like, let me grab this bazooka out of here.
And the crazy thing is that at that point you're kind of like, I'm kind of a like a cab fuck the police person, but at the same time, like, my other option is Hulk Hogan. So, like,
options are limited.
Right, like, maybe I'm okay with this bazooka. Like, he's just been, like, using his salad dressing to weirdly fuck with your driving.
Though that led to my favorite scene of the whole movie, the best scene of the whole movie, because you were talking about humor, right? So there's moments of where they really legitimately tried to make it funny. Best scene of the movie is when fucking Clint Howard rolls up in the bazookaed sheriff's car and it's like toasted to shit and it's falling apart. Top is gone. I mean, just literally gone. Yet the windshield wipers are still going. There's no windshield, but they're just fucking still going like that. I was like all in at that point. I'm like, yeah, this movie does not give a fuck and I'm right here with it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think somewhere in this movie, somebody had a genuine sense of, like, what's funny and, like, what works. It's just that maybe there were too many cooks, or maybe there was too much Hulk involvement, because there were things that felt like, okay, you kind of understand what you're doing. because like you said, that's legitimately funny. Like, and that's
Planes, Trains, and
intentional. Like, you can tell
Automobiles
that's
level, kind of
intentional.
almost. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. Like, it's not accidental. Like, they know what they're doing there. Like, that's an intentional decision. And there are a few moments, I think, in the movie where you're like, okay, they understand that they're doing something funny here, and
For sure.
they're doing something. I just felt like somewhere along those lines, like, there are so many masters they're trying to serve that, like, the end result is this, like, absolutely bonkers mix of, like, oh, isn't it like heartwarming family fare, but also, like, isn't it a weird adventure story, and isn't it like kind of like a slapstick funny thing, and it's like, oh, it's somehow all of those things, but also like absolutely none of them, like not a one of them. It's just this crazy hodgepodge that makes you feel like you are losing your mind in such a specific way that I've rarely felt since I have seen The Room.
Did anybody else, because on that note, because I'm right there with you, Kels, on that note, did anybody else get the vibe that the clubhouse below the orphanage was like the catacombs from Tales from the Crypt? Like,
oh my God,
like,
yes.
It is like the creepiest fucking, I kept expecting like the Crypt Keeper to legit turn around to one of the Barca loungers and start cackling menacingly as the kids rolled in.
Well, yeah.
It is like the spookiest fucking place ever.
And by the time you've reached that point in the movie, you're just like, yeah, anything could happen.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't the Crypt Keeper be there? Yes.
Sure.
I absolutely had the same reaction of like, okay, sure, that's what's going to happen here now. Like, maybe not the Crypt Keeper specifically, but something along those general lines.
Yes.
100%. We haven't heard from Steph in a while.
Oh, no, I'm like having the best time listening to you guys, honestly.
She's like, that's intentional.
I will tell you something. So I have this thing where anytime I watch something that's absolutely bananas, I have to go like read what people say about it. I'm just like, how did other people experience this movie? What did they think?
I can't even imagine.
And so, I'm searching like, okay, what are reviews for this movie? And the first audience review that came up just sent me into the stratosphere. So here goes. This is from Billy Sparrow. And it is from 1 month ago, which is also bananas.
Oh, damn. Wow.
Oh, no.
And
Late to the party, Billy.
It says, Santa with Muscles is an astonishing piece of media with its creative writing and the beautiful acting with Hulk Hogan playing the muscular Father Christmas.
Oh, no.
I would give this a higher rating than 5 stars if I could. Please watch this masterpiece and let the muscles soak into your eyes.
That has to be a joke.
I'm sure it is, but I laughed my ass off. I think I laughed harder at that than anything in the movie. I was like, shut your face.
Let the muscles soak into your eyes.
Soak into your eyes.
And then the very next one says, it was an amazing movie and very creative, but I took 1 star off because Santa didn't have big enough muscles. Oh my God. Joyful.
Oh,
Yes.
And I think that just about sums it up. Like, what else are we going to say? That's better
Yeah,
than
but
that?
this leads to something further, though, because I feel like we really need to psychoanalyze Kelly's fixation on these muscle-bound, meat-headed caretakers looking over precocious children that are in peril. Because clearly, Kelly, I love you, but clearly there's a pattern forming, and I feel like a more specialized manner of therapy might be required.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to get into it,
oh no,
I have a very specific thing, and it's so funny because I know that you're also referring to it's not There Will Be Blood.
Let There Be Blood.
Help me out, guys. Let There Be Blood. Yeah.
Let There Be Blood.
Something with blood. Something with blood, which is
blood
a movie that I thought was like, I don't know. I thought that movie was legitimately great. Like, I love that movie. Like, unironically, I think that movie is so much fun, and I don't think you need to be in the specific ironic mindset that I think you need to be in for Santa with Muscles. I will say that, like, perhaps as a, maybe this is going to sound really weird, and I apologize because I haven't really like thought it out a lot ahead of time, and I'm just like kind of going off the cuff here.
Watch out, Steph. Kelly's going to say something weird.
Oh no!
I'm going to say something
that has
fucking
never
weird,
happened.
probably. But it is possible. I'm willing to acknowledge that perhaps as a feminist with complicated daddy issues, a strong man who is also sensitive and vulnerable appeals to me. You know, as somebody who maybe didn't feel like that presence was super in her life. That said, I do think that for the most part, Santa with Muscles, it's mostly just that it's real stupid. And I like that. I just like something that's so aggressively like dumb and weird. And I, as a person who loved The Room so much, like I saw The Room, as an not MST3K, but as a riff tracks. And then I made almost literally everybody I know watch it multiple times. And I watched Birdemic and had the same reaction. Like, when a movie is really, 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 really crazy and just takes like a bunch of like bonkers left turns, I enjoy that so much. Like, so much more than like a competently made movie that just does exactly what you expect it to do. I like a poorly made movie that does insane bullshit. And like, that's just me. Like, I'm not saying that's the right answer. I'm just saying that's me. I would rather watch a poorly made movie where Hulk Hogan is clearly reading his lines off of a cue card off screen. Like, oh, I guess we have to save the orphan age. Like, I would rather have that and then have like, okay, but then guess what? Ed Begley Jr. is going after the crystals underneath the orphanage. Then something that just hits every beat you expect, even if it's competently acted. I like something that really challenges your expectations and does something weird and so dumb, so goddamn dumb. But like, at the same time, while it's happening, you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, hell yeah, let's go.
Kelly, I got very scared. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
No, I have, speaking
I
of
feel like
challenges,
both
Kelly's...
I'm so worried
Kelly.
both of you are going to come at me at one time.
No, so...
Kelly.
Speaking of challenges, okay, you mentioned challenges. I've got a challenge for you ladies. In keeping with the spirit of this movie's low-hanging fruit of a title, what other movie titles can you add or think of to add with muscles to and have it absolutely either spell out the plot or absolutely not spell out the plot? I've got a few, but I just want to hear what you guys can come up with off the cuff.
Ooh, that's so good. There Will Be Blood with Muscles.
Okay.
Titanic with Muscles. Titanic with Muscles would be great.
Arguably already better.
The Notebook with Muscles.
Okay.
I can, Jack, you've entered a really dangerous area because I can
She's
do
like,
this,
I could do this all day.
All fucking day.
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Babe Pig in the City. Babe Pig in the City with Muscles.
Yeah.
Pig with muscles.
The Little Mermaid with Muscles.
Yep. Pig with muscles. Yep.
Yeah, I can do this way too long. You don't want to go down this road with me,
Steph.
I don't.
What do you got?
No, I've been drinking. I didn't realize there was going to be a quiz. No, that's not fair.
Okay, I got some. I got some. I got one for you. I've got one for you, Steph. All right.
Okay.
Citizen Kane with muscles.
Okay.
Blondes have more fun
I'd
with
watch
muscles.
That.
Oh.
Octopussy
Some like
with
it
muscles.
hot with muscles.
I Know What You Did with Muscles Last Summer. And for Steph, this one's for Steph.
Okay.
Only lovers with muscles left alive. And since we're sometimes looking at this movie out of context and in a really poor light, I have to ask a question, and I don't want to derail it or make it anything awful, but hopefully somebody else saw this. Okay, so Clayton, our groundskeeper handyman at the orphanage, right? Okay, movie's over. Yeah. They're all now.
Best
Blake's house is the new orphanage. Oh, hands down. Blake's house is the new orphanage. Okay, and he has a staff of people. At the end scene, why in the fuck is the one black man in the entire movie doing work while everybody else is fucking off and having fun and tanning and goofing? He's on the riding mower mowing the fucking lawn. Like, A, he's the one black guy in the whole movie. B, Jack. Doesn't Blake already have a groundskeeper? So why in the fuck is Clayton doing that? Why are they making him work when everybody else is fucking off? Like, what the hell?
I had the exact same question, Jack. I thought the same.
I'm glad
thing,
it wasn't just me.
And I came to the conclusion that it's because, unsurprisingly, a movie starring Hulk Hogan might be a little bit racist.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a chance. There's a tiny chance.
It might be a little bit racist.
Hogan, you know, maybe
but guys,
Hulk Hogan is arguably the greatest wrestler of all time.
Come on, surely that can't be right?
Those two things cannot coexist.
They cannot they're mutually exclusive.
You can't be a great wrestler and racist. It's just
God
not
damn it, you are right, Steph. Thank you. That can't happen.
My go-to Hulk Hogan thing that I always think of is that apparently during his sex tape with Bubba the Love somebody's wife, he apparently at one point says, "I shouldn't have eaten that gas station sushi."
Shut the fuck up. What are you even talking about right now? I'm so terrified.
Although it is telling that when you type into Google, like Hulk Hogan filmography, the first thing that comes up is literally Hulk Hogan sex tape. Like that is like you type filmography in there and the response is sex tape. I didn't type in sex tape. I typed filmography. That's the first. That is the first hit. Yeah.
That is,
which apparently that counts as one of his film. That counts as his part of his filmography.
During the course of this film, he's film in heavy air quotes. He said something about like I shouldn't have eaten that gas station sushi. So like that's what
he says that while making a sex tape.
I believe so. I've not seen it, and I'm very happy.
Are you sure?
That.
I feel like with Steph being the Hulkamaniac that she with Kelly being the Hulkamaniac that she is, I feel like that's a lie.
I feel like it is a lie. And I feel like also, why do you know this? Why do you know this, Kelly?
Also, yes. Good question, Steph. Yeah.
All right. I have a really easy answer to that question. And that is that another bad movie podcast I listened to called How Did This Get Made did an episode about No Holds Barred, which is not a movie I've seen, but it's apparently another Hulk Hogan movie that also has Kurt Fuller, the great Kurt Fuller, in it. And during the course of their conversation about it, they were talking about Hulk's sex tape. And that's where Jason Mantzoukas mentioned that he commented on sushi. And I'm the kind of person who, that if you mention something weird about gas station sushi, it really sticks in my head.
Apparently.
So it remained in there. And I've been meaning to watch No Holds Barred ever since then because it sounds.
I thought you were going to say I've been meaning to watch the sex tape for a while.
Sex tape. That's what I thought.
Never in a million years. No,
maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, but I don't find talking about eating bad gas station sushi very sexy. Like it just doesn't. It doesn't turn me on.
That is the opposite,
is that me? Am I weird?
Yeah. I'm glad you feel that way.
Like, no, maybe we should do this another time. I don't know. Rain check?
You feel
rain check.
I feel it. Yep. You feel it. I feel it.
Yeah. Maniacs. You're gonna feel it too.
Stop. Kelly, I got so scared when you were talking about your wrestler obsession and you were like, well, guys, I just really love like beefy guys who are really sensitive and caring. And I was like, is she talking about Hulk Hogan? Like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Right.
And then you took a left turn, but I was very worried when you started that conversation.
I had a concern. Yeah.
I was like,
I'm Hulk Hogan, the greatest wrestler of all time.
Are you sure?
Okay. So to be clear, I have nothing but contempt for Hulk Hogan. But with that in mind, I think that if you listen to like the albums he's released, they're really funny. Like
who has listened to the albums
funny, and I don't think they're intended to be funny, which is why I say I'm laughing. Oh,
Kelly,
girl, let me tell you about Beach Patrol sometime.
Kelly, I am so worried about you right now.
Right.
You know about his sex tape. You know about his musical career. Like, it's very upsetting right now. I don't
This isn't
even
even
know
like
what
a
to do.
closet fan. This is bordering on obsession.
This is like deep
This is
touch,
obsession.
right?
This is what obsession looks like right here.
Okay,
Yep.
I do want to be very clear about this. I think he's
You've been very clear.
Thou doth protest too much, Kelly.
Oh no! We lose her?
Did she say fuck it? Oh, did she give up on us? Kelly, no! I'm sorry.
What if she's like, fuck you guys? Oh no!
That was the last straw. Nobody makes fun of this Hulkamaniac.
I'm actually...
He's going for a slam.
Oh shit, I'm actually like truly worried now, but I can't stop laughing.
Do we need to message her? Kelly, are you
I
okay?
think so. I think we need to message her because she just bounced.
I'll message her.
Oh no.
You need us to call 911. Okay, I messaged her. Oh my god.
Oh no. Like, I don't know what I'll do if she really was like, fuck you guys. That's not funny.
Right?
With saying
I would
that
be
I like Hulk
so
Hogan. I'd be like,
heartbroken.
oh no.
I would be so heartbroken. I would feel like such an ass.
Me too. She's typing. I'm terrified. Am I gone? Oh no. I said so many things.
Come back. We love you. We take it all back. Just come back, Kelly.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh shit. This is the nuttiest episode ever.
Oh god damn it. I love every second of it.
I'll always remember the time I spent with you.
Steph has
Jesus.
to finish it because, like, my little haiku is not going to be, like, it's not going to hold up after a song.
If she's singing, then we gotta have her round it out because
Yeah.
I can't follow that.
Yeah.
Well,
No, you have to.
I
You started off, Jack. You started
wrote a
off,
haiku,
and I'll
but
take
then
it
you
from
guys-
there, and then
Okay, good, because I'm gonna need to rest my vocal cords after I do mine. So that's good.
Just
Yeah.
your vocal cords.
Steph, do you need us to be in the background just going like,
I do.
I'll do
because
percussion.
It's to the tune of Jingle Bells, so I need you to give me a little bit of
okay.
musical accompaniment.
Oh, hell
for
yeah.
sure.
Yes, we can do that. All right. Well, everybody,
Oh,
it
God.
seems like we're reaching the end of this thrilling edition of Guilty Pleasures, where we've talked about the absolute essential holiday classic, Santa with Muscles. And so we are reaching the point where we all write our odes to Hulk Hogan and Ed Begley Jr. and Clint Howard and a lot of people who seem like they're nearly famous but aren't quite. So let's kick it off with Jack, who's got something to say.
Oh, and I'm gonna do my best Hulkster voice, the wrestling voice when they get into character and they're like they're pumping themselves up and they're like flexing and like, you know, shaking and all that shit. So here we go.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Hulkamaniac's ode to Santa with muscles. Gather round ringside, you good lads and lasses, to celebrate a Santa who could kick all your asses. From the turnbuckle to the taunting and between the ropes comes a meat-headed caretaker, one of Kelly's favorite tropes. No, this story doesn't feature your average Saint Nick, but instead gives us a hero to punch baddies in the dick. From an orphanage in peril and some magic splody rocks, to Ed Begley's chilly villain who chuckles and mocks. A young Mila Kunis before she became such a star, and a helping of silliness that goes way too fucking far. Can you handle this hulking holiday movie like no other? Oil up and throw down because, oh, hell yeah, brother.
God.
Ouch.
Are you okay, Jack? Holy
I don't know how
shit.
they do that, like in all those fucking interviews nonstop. Like that shit hurts.
fan-fucking-tastic.
That was so
I
fucking
did a
good.
hike. Yeah.
Drops mic.
I did a haiku, which seems like so inadequate in comparison. I will try and do it in a Hulk voice, which I obviously have a deep throaty man voice. So count my syllables for me, y'all, because I believe I got this right.
No.
Happy Hulkadays! Jabronis big and small, Sept and Begley Jr. And that's it.
I didn't even.
That's my haiku.
You do it over. You got to do it over. I was laughing over all of it.
You're like count syllables. I'm like, I can't even understand anything. I'm just dying right
It
now.
sounded like the Cookie Monster was really angry.
All right. Let's try it again.
Oh my god.
Oh shit, we're blowing out the levels on this right now. Oh my god. Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Oh
Go,
fuck, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be ready.
I might have to mute myself. Go for it.
Me too.
Okay. Happy Hulkadays! Jabronis big and small, Sept and Begley Jr. And that's it.
And all my Hulkamaniacs, they're gonna feel it too.
Holy fucking shit.
Was that not good?
Oh, that was great. I'm fucking dying over here. Oh my
I thought
god.
you guys
I don't have enough water for this.
I am bawling my eyes out. I swear to God. Oh my God.
Should I have not done the Hulk voice?
No,
No,
you
you
absolutely
should
should do the whole voice
definitely
in
have done the
every
Hulk voice.
episode going forward.
I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a Hulk voice, but you should definitely do whatever that voice was.
It's a something.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
My god. All credibility out the window. I love it.
Fucking hell. And fuck you guys both, because there's no way I'm following either one of that. That was insane.
Oh. No, you have to do your
No, I don't. I'll never get through it. I'm losing my shit right now.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
Steph, did you hear what I just did?
yes, that's why I can't do mine, because
She set them.
I'm beyond right now.
You gotta go. Steph, just go. Dive in. Both feet. Go. Go.
You cannot
This
sound
is your moment.
stupider than I just sounded.
Or I did. Either one of us.
Yours actually kind of worked, Jack. Mine sounded insane.
Really? Because mine was god awful in every way, shape, or form. Splody rocks.
Did you hear mine?
No, you sounded like Hulk Hogan. You
Yours
sounded
was-
like a wrestler. It was fantastic.
Oh my god.
Jack
Fucking
did.
terrifying.
I sounded insane.
No, you did sound insane. I love you, Kelly, but you sounded insane. But that was
I know.
beautiful. It was a beautiful kind of insanity that I adore.
You are my angel baby. You're so fine.
Oh my God.
Steph,
Holy
Steph,
Steph, back me up. Steph.
God. Holy shit. I don't know if I literally don't know if I can get through it because I can't stop laughing, but we'll fucking try.
Go.
Oh,
Just go.
My God.
Don't think.
Okay.
Just do.
Jeez, you guys are real peer pressuring, man. It's real tense.
Uh-huh.
It's the Hulk Hogan stuff that you guys are doing. You're like all roided out right now. You're like, somebody go.
Get in the ring,
We're
brother.
all hopped up.
Come on.
We are
That's
all
right.
hopped up on HGH and cocaine, so please
Oh my God.
go.
Got in the spirit of things. A little too
All right.
literally. Come on.
So this is a little song, a little verse to the theme of Jingle Bells.
Mhm.
Let's see if I can do this.
You got this,
Okay,
girl.
hold on. I know. I just need to take a breath. Okay. Santa's ripped, flexing through the show. Villains fall, orphans call with cheesy holiday glow. Hey, Santa's ripped, it's pure Christmas cheese. Grab some friends, some nog to blend, and laugh until you wheeze. Hey!
Woo!
Yay!
I loved it! Yay!
And you sang
new holiday
it. Yes. Yes.
Absolutely perfect. A new holiday
We clearly have
classic.
no shame. None of us. Not a single fucking one of us.
I mean, Jack, I really appreciate where
Ma'am?
you're coming from, but like, where would the shame be? What's there to be ashamed of here? Like, we're just talking about a great movie.
I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but a little bit of shame. We've talked about sex tapes, pedophilia.
Right. Yep. Making the black person work. Yep. We talked about it all.
Racism, Trump.
Yeah. Yep.
And honestly, I feel like we just scratched the surface. Like, I feel like we could have talked about a lot more, honestly.
This could be a 6-hour episode easily.
Oh, absolutely.
This could be like a full fucking mini series.
Santa with Muscles Part 32. Tune in for the continuing saga. And people are all riveted. They're like, I wonder what's going to happen next on the Santa with Muscles series.
What is Steph going to sing next?
Oh, Lord, no.
The serial music starts playing in the background.
Yes. Oh,
see, the problem with this is that I'm recording this drunk, but I've got to edit it sober, which is going to be sobering. And I'm going to be like,
but do you really have to?
I don't know.
Can you not edit drunk just to see what happens?
I
think you should try it.
It's very Hemingway of
Do
you.
it.
Probably
Yes,
should. Because
exactly.
I think if I listen to it back sober with a critical eye, I'm going to be like, nope, that's not going in.
Delete. That was a 5-minute episode, guys.
I'm like, I thought we talked longer than that. What's up?
I mean, really, and I say this with some degree of pride. This may be the dumbest episode we've ever done.
Oh, it definitely is. No, for sure.
Yeah. No arguments here.
And again, I take some pride in that. I feel like I've really...
You should be proud. You really should.
Yes.
I am. I kind of am.
Because you're right. We have been picking like Jack picked Jennifer's body for fuck's sake. And then like you come in hot with you're like, I see your Jennifer's body and I raise you. Santa with muscles.
Hold my beer and watch this.
The dumbest movie you've ever not seen.
We're putting the guilty back in guilty pleasures.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. That was my exact thought process.
No, you did.
Do we have
a
outros?
Great job.
Does anybody have outros?
Yeah, we should probably do. Yeah.
Final round.
So I guess since I picked it, I should probably go last. So
wait, are we gonna follow
in the order?
I'm so sorry. Are we gonna follow up that nonsense with a serious outro now?
Or why don't we say them and then you just splice them in before?
I just don't know if I can do it at this point. Oh my god! All right.
Wait, hold on. Before we go any further, Steph, have I broken you?
Yes.
Oh no!
And she was never heard from again.
Oh no! I'm so sorry.
It wasn't Kelly we had to be worried about. It was Steph all along.
My.
Except it was me because I'm the one who did it to poor Steph. Oh no!
You done broke her.
I'm just gonna
I hope
read
you're
my
proud of
outro
yourself, Kelly.
I kind of am.
Look what you've done to Stephanie. You're a monster.
Yup.
This episode alone is giving me like all the sound bites we need for an entire year. Like I will have sound bites for days and days just from this episode.
I would just remind you both that like I feel like my no notes is pretty gentle and sweet. So I think I've earned the right to give you something.
So you had to have the sugar and the spice. Is that what you're saying? You had to like the okay.
And everything okay.
Nice. All right.
Sugar
and everything
spice
cocaine.
and
Fuck
everything okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It's fine. It's okay.
It's all fine. Everything's fine. We're fine.
All right. I do think we need to at least answer the question of if everybody in the group feels like this is a legitimately guilty pleasure.
Jack, why don't you go first? Kelly would like to go last.
Okay. Initially, I wondered quite strongly, what in the after school special hell was Kelly making us watch this time? Which, to be fair, is a question I think we tend to ask quite a lot on this show. Honestly, and this is no joke. Honestly, I do believe that Miss Kelly Mincer, has the purest Christmas spirit out of all of us. Like, she's got 99 problems, but the Grinch ain't one. That said, Santa with Muscles has to be one of the most aggressively inoffensive movies I think I have ever seen, with everyone involved being like, well, it's a low budget Christmas movie starring Hulk Hogan, so fuck it, we're all in. If you know that going in, and if you're drinking heavily, which if you're not, why not? Then there are certainly worse ways to spend an hour and a half of your holiday season. It's funny in all the unexpected ways. It's a little icky at times, as we've uncovered. It's a little racist at times at the end, which we uncovered, not intentionally, I'm sure. Hopefully not. It is oh so guilty. It is definitely guilty. And I will most assuredly never watch this movie again. But it was also an unexpected pleasure. And I am not sad that I watched it. So there you go.
Your review is, I'm not sad that I watched it. I'm never watching it again, but I'm not sad.
I would never watch it again, but yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. I actually have a sincere outro, but it's very hard to
No way.
Shut up. I know.
Stephanie.
I want to hear it.
Okay.
In defense of?
Always. There are holiday movies that warm your heart. And then there's Santa with Muscles, which is really the cinematic equivalent of a fruitcake dropped on your head from the top rope. Starring Hulk Hogan in all his peroxide mustache, muscle-bound glory, this 1996 oddity is a Christmas fever dream, and possibly one of the most bizarre entries into the So Bad It's Good canon. If the insane premise alone doesn't have you giggling in disbelief, the execution certainly will. Watching Hulk Hogan play an air quotes lovable jerk with a gratingly cartoonish arc feels like watching your gym coach try out for community theater. Yet somehow his sheer commitment to the lunacy is kind of endearing. He seems in on the joke, or at least blissfully unaware of how utterly absurd it all is. The supporting cast deserves a shout out for leaning into the chaos. Bagley Jr. hams it up as the villain with a goofy cadre of minions. His henchmen feel like they were pulled straight from a rejected Power Rangers script. And then there's the weird orphanage subplot. And somehow the kids' earnest performances clash hilariously with the film's campy tone, creating a weirdly watchable dissonance. If Christmas movies are about escapism, then Santa with Muscles is a full-on sleigh ride to Crazy Town. The film's low-budget special effects, nonsensical plot twists, and Hogan's wide-eyed sincerity create a perfect storm of unintentional comedy. This is not Miracle on 34th Street. It's a miracle it ever got made, and a theatrical release, no less. Yet there's an undeniable charm to its earnest ridiculousness. The over-the-top slapstick, cheesy Christmas spirit, and bizarre mashup of pro wrestling machismo and holiday schmaltz make it the perfect movie to pair with eggnog and your most sarcastic friends. Santa with Muscles is not a good movie by any conventional metric, but as a Christmas guilty pleasure, it's kind of hard to beat. If you love the kind of movies that make you laugh at them rather than with them, then this is the gift that keeps on giving. So my final rating, 2 out of 10 for quality, 10 out of 10 for sheer audacity. Is this a guilty pleasure? Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah, brother.
Over to you, Kelly.
You got to get in the Hulkster. Hell yeah, brother.
I can't do the gremlin voice. Hell yeah, brother. Oh.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
You sound like
you
a
haven't
demon
had water
now.
in 8 days.
Hell yeah.
I mean, isn't that how Spike sounded? Okay, so if we're getting into the definition of guilty pleasure, which seems worthwhile for doing in this podcast, we have dealt with a lot of movies that I think are actually quite good and well made, but that like are perhaps divisive among audiences. And that's absolutely valid. However, to me, a guilty pleasure, I tend to think of like The Room or Birdemic. And as close as I can think of a Christmas comparison is, frankly, Santa with Muscles. It is a movie that you cannot say by anybody's metric is good. Like, nobody is watching that movie and saying like, hey, that's what a Christmas movie should be. Most people are watching it and scratching their heads and saying, what just happened to me? Was I abducted and put back on Earth? Like, what happened? But boy, oh boy, it is fun. It is absolutely nonsense from tip to taint. None of it makes sense. None of it follows internal logic. And who fucking cares? If you are somebody who enjoys these sort of guilty pleasure movies, movies that don't necessarily follow the idea of like, oh, this is narratively sensical, or this is well acted, or any part of this makes any kind of internal sense, then I think really Santa with Muscles is great for you. It doesn't shoehorn in a weird romance, although some could argue into we're just gonna walk away from that. We're just gonna walk away from it because it makes everybody uncomfortable, including me. It's a weird movie, but boy, it's pretty fun to watch. And especially when you're watching it the first time through, like, it's hard to know when it's going to zig when you think it's going to zag. It goes real crazy. And also, Ed Begley Jr. is great. Yay for him. So yeah, I think this is in some ways the purest form of a guilty pleasure, because like, whereas, and I don't mean this in any shady way, like, it's harder for me to argue Jennifer's Body as a guilty pleasure because that's a well-made movie with a carefully designed screenplay that's well executed. This is bananas from top to bottom. Like, there's not a moment of this where you're like, oh, I get how this happened. The entire time you're like, what the fuck? Who said this is okay? And that's what I personally look for in a guilty pleasure movie. So to me, it is the purest form of guilty pleasure, with the caveat that I totally understand if you 100% disagree with me, because it is real stupid and super bad. But boy, oh boy, it's pretty fun.
Ooh.
And there you go.
That was an episode, guys. That really was an episode.
That was an episode.
We were all over the place.
That was the perfect,
just like this movie. Yep.
Perfect Christmas treat. Yeah.
Thank you for coming to our show, and good night.
Until next time, this is the Guilty Pleasures crew signing off and reminding you to give in to pleasure wherever you can, and don't you dare feel guilty about it. It's weird how many times we've said cocaine on this episode as well. Like, this is,
actually, it's really not that weird considering what we just watched.
Kind of phenomenal.